What would you do differently, Donald?
I'd make our allies, forgetting about the enemies you can't talk to so easily, I'd make our allies pay their fair share. We're a debtor nation. Something's going to happen over the next number of years with this country, because you can't keep going on losing $200 billion, and yet we let Japan come in and dump everything right into our markets and everything. It's not free trade. If you ever go to Japan right now and try to sell something, forget about it, Oprah. Just forget about it. It's almost impossible. They don't have laws against it. They just make it impossible. They come over here, they sell their cars, their VCRs, they knock the hell out of our companies. And, hey, I have tremendous respect for the Japanese people. I mean, you can respect somebody that's beating the hell out of you, but they are beating the hell out of this country.
We blew it out of the water. Even all the economists that looked at this thought we were going to have a depressed jobs report, and we didn't. So that's a testament to the president, the economic output that he is doing. Look at the Rose Garden that we had the other day. Who was in the audience? It was all the American workers. We had our Teamsters there. We had our United Auto Workers there. We're seeing those investments pay off, and I would expect that to continue.
So if you look at that, China, first row, China, 67%. That's tariffs charged to the USA, including currency manipulation and trade barriers. So 67%, I think you can, for the most part, see it. Those with good eyes, with bad eyes. We didn't want to bring, it's very windy out here. We didn't want to bring out the big charts because it had no chance of standing. Fortunately, we came armed with a little smaller chart. So 67%, so we're going to be charging a discounted reciprocal tariff of 34%. I think, in other words, they charge us, we charge them less. So how can anybody be upset? They will be, because we never charge anybody anything, but now we're going to charge. European Union, they're very tough, very, very tough traders. You know, you think of European Union, very friendly. They rip us off. It's so sad to see. It's so pathetic. 39%, we're going to charge them 20%, so we're charging them essentially half. Vietnam, great negotiators, great people. They like me, I like them. The problem is they charge us 90%. We're going to charge them 46% tariff. Taiwan, where they took all of our computer chips and semiconductors. We used to be the king, right? We were everything. We had all of it. Now we have almost none of it, except the biggest company is coming in. We're going to end up with almost 40%. Lee Zeldin's working to get their approvals. And it's an amazing company. Mr. Wei, of one of the great companies of the world, actually. They're coming in from Taiwan, and they're going to build one of the biggest plants in the world, maybe the biggest for that. But 64%, we're going to charge them 32%. Japan, very, very tough, great people. And again, I don't blame the people for doing it. I think they're very smart in doing it. I blame the people that sat right in that Oval Office, right over there, right behind the Resolute desk, or whichever desk they chose. Japan, 46%. They would charge us 46%, and much higher for certain items like cars, you know, little items like cars. 46%, we're charging them 24%. India, very, very tough, very, very tough. The Prime Minister just left, and he's a great friend of mine, but I said, you're a friend of mine, but you're not treating us right. They charge us 52%. You have to understand, we charge them almost nothing for years and years and decades, and it was only 7 years ago when I came in, we started with China and charged them. We took in hundreds of billions of dollars from China in tariffs, and they understood, honestly. President Xi understood. He said, look, I understand, and the other countries, and they all understand. We're going to have to go through a little tough love, maybe, but they all understand. They're ripping us off, and they understood it. Prime Minister of Japan, Shinzo Abe. He was a fantastic man. He was unfortunately taken from us, assassination. But I went to him and I said, Shinzo, we have to do something. A trade is not fair. And he said, I know that, I know that. And he was a great gentleman. He was a fantastic man, but he understood immediately what I was talking about. I said, Shinzo, we have to do something. He said, I know that. And we worked out a deal, and it would have been a much better deal, but frankly, there were many years left on the deal that was made previous to my getting there, but it was something. If you look at Switzerland, 61% to 31%. Indonesia, Malaysia, Cambodia. Oh, look at Cambodia, 97%. We're going to bring it down to 49. They made a fortune with the United States of America. United Kingdom, 10%, and we'll go 10%. So we'll do the same thing. South Africa, 60%, 30%, and they've got some bad things going on in South Africa. You know, we're paying them billions of dollars, and we cut the funding because a lot of bad things are happening in South Africa. The fake news ought to be looking at it. They don't want to report it. Brazil, 10%, 10%. Bangladesh is 74%. So you see what's going on. Pakistan, 58%. Sri Lanka, 88%. So what we're doing is we're taking not the full, we could take the full 88%. Thanks a lot.
The president's been pounding the fact that the world's been ripping us off for 40 years. And he's on a mission to right those wrongs before the end of his term. The vision? Turn the country into a place with thriving main streets and hometowns where American workers make American products sold to the American public. Doesn't that give you a nice, warm, fuzzy feeling inside? And he wants to make it easier for people to start families, afford homes, and go to college. These tariffs are for the children.
Here with more, star of ESPN's First Take, host of the Stephen A. Smith Show, the one and only Stephen A. Smith.
You know what, man? You interrupt my day.
I don't even ask a question. You go.
You ain't getting. You interrupt my day. I come to the studio to see you. You ain't even here, okay? And then you got the audacity to put that out
in New York.
as divisive rhetoric on his part. That's G-rated compared to the stuff that comes out of your mouth. I mean, what hypocrisy!
No. I'm not running for president. I wish Donald Trump would tone it down. They want dirty air and water. Argue with them. Get in their face. They can be on the bus, but they got to sit in the back. He was just love and, give peace a chance, man. He was so uniting.
Well, listen, it wasn't about being united. It was about winning, which is something the Democrats need to learn again, because clearly they forgot how to do that. So let's get that out of the way.
That's a good point.
That's an absolutely good point. Secondly, that sound that you played for me talking about Obama, that was from weeks ago, okay? That wasn't since Trump with his tariff wars and all of this stuff. Let me tell you something right now.
Okay, stop trying to change the subject.
I'm not changing the subject. I'm right here.
What do you know? Here's my question, because if we're going to have this hypothetical matchup and we're going to go to the last Rocky movie, which I thought was maybe one of the best. I loved them all. Right. And you have this hypothetical matchup that probably a lot of people would be interested in.
Yeah.
What do you really know about Barack Obama? Do you know who Frank Marshall Davis is? I'm sure you know who Reverend Wright is.
Yes,
do you know who Bernadine Dohrn is? Do you know who Bill Ayers is?
I know a few people that Trump associates with as well, so we could have that argument all day.
Here's my point. Did I ask you that?
I'm answering your question. Here's my point. Don't come to me with that. You said a fight, right? Trump versus Obama, right? Let's talk about that, and here's what I'm telling you. There's a bunch of liberals in this country. There's a bunch of centrists in this country, a bunch of moderates, okay? Yeah, you got the Republicans that would speak against the Affordable Care Act or American Recovery and Reinvestment Act. They might speak against those things, but a lot of people on the left and a lot of centrists like that stuff about Obama. Here's my thing with Trump. See, these times right now, this is what I keep trying to tell the Democrats. Let the man do what he's doing. Find out whether or not it works. You're going to listen to Sean Hannity. You're going to watch him. Let's see if these tariffs against Canada, Mexico, China, for everybody that he's trying to, be engaging in a reciprocation.
Let me ask you a question.
Let's see what happens.
If I punch you in the face, or we're business partners, and we're supposed to be 50-50 partners, and I take 75% and give you 25%,
I got a problem with that.
Sit back. You're just going to sit back and take that. Stephen A. Smith is just going to say, "Oh, it's okay, Sean, you take all the money." You're going to take that?
No, but here's the point that I'm making to you.
Why should America take it?
Well, I'm not telling you that America should just flat out take it. Sure, there should be a fight that's on, but how you engage in that fight, are you doing it adroitly? Are you doing it smartly? We know manufacturing jobs have been being lost for decades. Over 5 million manufacturing jobs have been lost. The age of AI, Chat GPT, and all of that has come in effect. Things have changed.
Down, because you're wrong. Since Donald Trump started making the tariff threat alone, we have nearly $5 trillion in companies' investments. Nissan, Honda. We're going to build plants in Mexico. They're building them here. $500 billion from Apple. Foreign countries
These are
investing
pledges, right?
billions of dollars because they want to be
pledges,
here.
right?
Other countries dropping their tariffs so they don't get tariffed.
May I ask a question? Sean Hannity, are there not folks on both the left and the right, American citizens now, bringing up words like inflation, bringing up words like a potential recession, worried about the impact that tariffs are going to have on the American citizen for the immediate future? You're right. You're right about the long haul. You might be right about the long haul, but in short term, we can't ignore that either.
So we have two choices here. We continue to let countries screw us over and tariff us to death at rates that we don't tariff them at. We just continue to take it like everybody else is taking it. Or we draw a line in the sand. We're the land of the free and the home of the brave, and we say, it's your choice. If you put tariffs on us, we'll have to put them on you. Or we can have free and fair trade. It's up to the country to decide. Tell me, Stephen A., what's unfair about that?
Listen, it's not a matter of it being unfair. I'm not accusing the man of being unfair as it pertains to that particular issue. And by the way, I was listening to Lindsey Graham before I came on. I actually like that man. Don't tell him, but I actually like that man. But here's the deal, okay, Sean Hannity? Here's the deal. Don't tell him that. Don't tell him that. Here's the deal. Listen, here's the deal. I mean, I just like how he comes at it. I don't agree with him half the time, but I like the way he comes at it. What I'm saying to you is this. You just brought up a boxing analogy. You can knock somebody out, or you can jab them to death, or you can rope a dope them. There's a variety of ways that you can beat people in terms of, instead of doing it the way that Trump is doing it, because he's upsetting everything. And in the process of that, you got American citizens worried as to whether or not it's going to work.
He said something I want to applaud. Let him put his policies in place. Give it some time, a reasonable amount of time. It takes time to, you got to the economy. You got to get your plan fully passed, and then give them a year, and then we'll come back and have that conversation.
Well, at least you
or
said
a year.
At least you said, I don't know if this will be that long.
The verdict is in on Obamacare. Now, they promised that everyone would keep their doctor, keep their plan, and the average family would save $2,500 a year. Here's the numbers. You ready? Millions lost their doctors. Millions lost their plans. The average cost is on average, 250 to 300% higher than it was before Obamacare. And about 40+% of the country has one Obamacare exchange option. I would say F, 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 and F. It's failed and failed miserably, and it absolutely was a disaster. That's my grade. What's yours?
I would say I'll get you when you're on my show, but you do the same damn thing on my show. You don't even give me a chance to answer a question or even ask a question.
I'm giving you a chance.
It's what you do. But here's the deal. Are there not tens of millions of Americans using the Affordable Care Act, and a lot of them in southern states?
Okay.
Is that not true?
And they're not saving money.
I'm just asking.
And how many,
I'm just asking.
True or false?
I'm just asking.
True or false? True or false? Did they promise millions that you wouldn't lose your doctor? Did millions lose it? Yes. Did millions lose their plans? Yes. Do millions of Americans only have one option? Yes. Are they paying 250% more? Yes.
So millions benefited and millions didn't. I'm so shocked. Millions benefited and millions did it in the United States of America. I'm so surprised. I'm so
That's
surprised.
not what they said. They didn't say it would work for some people, not for other people. They said you're going to save $2,500 a year. It's going to be the greatest system ever. It's not.
So we're getting literal with a quote from a politician that didn't come to fruition.
A politician
on a literal perspective. With Trump in office,
you keep your doctor,
that's
you keep your plan, you save money.
Really?
Check no, no, and no.
Okay.
Checkmate.
Okay. It's not checkmate. It's sorry.
Checkmate.
You got to be able to avoid saying the same thing about Trump. Every word he says is the gospel. No, it is not. Stop that. Stop that right now.
I don't know why I love you.
I don't know why I feel that way about you either, man. You're crazy, son.
I don't know.
And next time you're going to have me in the studio.
There's something wrong with both of us. That's it.
How about that?
All right.
My hair's not as gray as yours, though.
It's been 48 hours since Liberation Day, and the phones at the White House won't stop ringing. Vietnam called today. They tariff our product at a rate of 90%. You can't even find an American-made product in Vietnam unless it's an old landmine. Nam says they're ready to drop their tariffs from 90 to 0. 58,000 Americans died there. We should be able to sell them Chevys. Argentina wants to go down to 0% too. Their president, he's the guy that gave Elon the chainsaw. He says friends will be friends. India's cutting a trade agreement in the coming days. That's over 1 billion customers our companies will get access to. South Korea is going all out to get a good deal, and South Korea knows a thing or two about tariffs. You can't get into that market, and they're an Asian powerhouse. The Europeans are coming to the table. They're willing to drop their automobile tariffs from 10% to 2.5%, and they're promising to buy American energy and weaponry. Japan's tried everything. They've said President Trump will buy more natural gas, more armaments. They said SoftBank's investing $500 billion in America, and Trump said no. Keep going. What else? 47 means business. And the last one to negotiate loses. China, in a big huff, retaliated and jacked up tariffs on us. Trump says, quote, China played it wrong. They panicked. The one thing they cannot afford to do. How many things in China say made in America? And how many things here say made in China? Now do you get it? The White House is holding all the cards. And who are the ones crying? Foreign countries and American multinationals who ship jobs and factories to those same foreign countries.
You see the numbers. The numbers are so disproportionate. They're so unfair. At the same time, we will establish a minimum baseline tariff of 10%. You notice that on the chart?
Trump is crashing the stock market by 20% this month, but he's doing it on purpose. And this is why Warren Buffett just said Trump is making the best economic moves he's seen in over 50 years. Now, here's the secret game he's playing, and it could make you rich. So why is he doing this? To push cash into treasuries, which forces the Fed to slash interest rates in May, and those lower rates give the Fed the ability to refinance trillions of debt very inexpensively. It also weakens the dollar and drops mortgage rates. Now, it's a wild chess move, but it's working. Now, you're probably wondering, what about his tariffs? Well, I'll tell you, it's a genius play. It actually forces companies to build here to dodge them. It also forces farmers to sell more of their products here in the U.S. to bring grocery prices way down. We've already seen this with eggs. Now, remember, 94% of all stocks are owned only by 8% of Americans. So Trump, he's taking from the rich short term and handing it to the middle class through lower prices.
Think that we need to put a cape on his back, an S on his chest, and call him Superman.